Welcome to another Bulblog Garden Diary Walk. I want to show you, look at today, what happens after all that colour in the last video, that early colour, low-lying, mostly bulbous type species. They've all gone. Well, they're over. You can see the leaves yellowing on the ground. The flowers are all but gone. So what comes next? Well, we can start with bluebells. There's nothing wrong with the bluebells. These are the hybrids that we have. Some of the, we have both types, but we also have hybrids. And I don't mind, they all serve the same purpose in the garden. So we've got bluebells here, and the yellow over there, if you can see, we'll get a closer look at it in a minute. That's Ovularia grandiflora. Maybells, they call that in North America. And there's the others, there's the Corydalis, the purple, Craigton purple there. You can see the bigger lilies pushing through, there's plenty of lilies to come. Aquilegias, the self-seeders, they're popping around everywhere. In there's the Impatiens taiwanensis. And over there, the big yellow, one of the tree peonies, Lutea ludloii. The other thing that's important at this time of year is moving up to the bigger shrubs, the bigger rhododendrons, and above that to the trees, which serve such an important role in the garden. Both for the structure and the shape and the form, but the habitats they create underneath their canopies. More than the ground growing plants, it's the trees and the shrubs that create the atmosphere in the garden. Another plant, of course, is the digitalis foxglove. So as we move round, we can see over there even a bit of wild garlic. Bluebells come in multiple colours, of course. We call them blue, but you can see there's blue ones, there's white ones, the pink ones, and of course the ferns, they're coming up as well. So as I say, appreciate all these trees, but let's go look at some of the rhododendrons that are now the colours. We'll look up that path. I'll probably go round and come back down this path. In there, Rhododendron hookerianum. Gave that a good chop last year. It's a plant that really does respond well to being really hard to cut. You can cut it back really hard if you want. And it seems to stimulate a mass of flowers. So maybe that's the best way to treat it. Of course, the tree peonies, you can see there's different tree peonies. This one's not a very great looking plant, but it's got these wonderful, great big flowers. So it's the big rhododendrons that we'll go and have a look at. And again, how they sit in the landscape with the trees above them. So we've got different acers and sorbus, Cotoneaster, birch. But all the beds where the low-lying plants, where the very first crocus and aranthus and snowdrops came through, now look like this. All this growth. Self-seeders, there's all sorts, Doronicums, digitalis, Disporums. all sorts of stuff to come in there, which we'll look at through the season. Rhododendrons grow, and after 30 to 40 years, this is what they can look like. Really tall. This is Albert Schweitzer, a hybrid. These magnificent blooms, all way above my head. They're twice the height of me, or more than twice my height. But just to get into them, they are fantastic. And then underneath them, there's the dicentra, where all the early bulbs and that were. You can see trilliums that are going past, erythroniums and the snowdrops and leucodium, and everything else is under there, perfectly happy to come back next year. Up here we have Corydalis Craigton Blue, working very well with the pink dicentra. This is a hybrid, not a hybrid, it's a species of some kind, or a wild collected seed. I think it's some kind of decorum, although it's difficult to say. But we grew it from seed collected in the Himalayas many years ago. We didn't collect the seed, we were part of the seed. We had a share in the seeds that came back. Well, up there, the acers, with all the birds in their nests. And all the different foliages, of course, there's ferns, there's Corydalis, the dicentra, there's all sorts of different things coming. Big podophyllums catching all the bracts coming off of the... I mean, if I put my hand in there, what a giant leaf that is. One of the nodding trilliums, where the flowers hang down. Another very old rhododendron. It's woody at the bottom and it's facing to the south to get the light. Rhododendron Mackinoy. I'll just go around here past the pond to get an idea, so you can see it. It's this very narrow foliage, and the new foliage will be heavily covered in ingementum. So it'll be really silver. There's Rhododendron Sarlid. This used to come to us when we were showing early on in the 1980s. It was a wee plant in a pot. We used to grow it in the ground, and every year we'd lift it and put it in a pot and take it to the show, the Aberdeen show of the Scottish Rock Garden Club, where it invariably won prizes. But it's huge now. Underneath it's all woody, and my question is, do I cut it back and regenerate it, or do we just leave it? So, as I've said before, I'm still undecided on that. If I come in here, you can see again the huge rhododendron going right up there. All the flowers. This is Fortunii, beautifully scented. Really is so heavenly scented. Through past more acers. The heavily clipped pines. And down into again another bulb bed. The Doronicum's really starting to come. There's some of the other daisy-like plants. I can see lots of lilies, alliums, bigger geraniums, and the self-seeders. This is Rhododendron decorum here. Again, seed raised. And then there's the original plant of Peony lutea. It's not looking too good. A lot of dieback. It's maybe just reached the end of its life, or maybe the hot dry conditions of the last few years haven't suited it, and where it's growing deep in the shade there's a lot of competition from the trees for the water. So we may be about to lose the original plant, but we don't lose the plant because all around here, down here, are self-sown seedlings. So they're there, and they're there, and they're there, and the big one I showed you at the start of the video, all self-sown, it's seeds around. So the individuals may go, but the plant doesn't. But everything's welcome in the garden, so the ragged robins, the wildflowers, plenty call them weeds. I don't like the word weeds at all. Cabellias. There's Ramondas as well. I've walked past some Ramondas because they're just going over a bit. And of course the birds. Here we have coming over carpets of plants. Up to Rhododendron Yakushimanum. We've got much bigger Yakushimanums out the front garden. More rhododendrons through the back, looking towards the compost heaps. This is Rhododendron wardii, and this is the poor album, the white form of wardii. We're looking in there a salvia of some kind. I think I raised that from seed. This may be another down here. I'm not sure what these big fancy leaves are. I keep growing things from seed and never sure until they eventually come out, or I have to go and re-identify them. There you can see the big Fortunii up there. Behind it's the laburnum, which will be one of the big features coming up. Of course, the flowers we looked at earlier on from the various Jeffersonia, they're now gone, the leaves are up. So it's important to have your trees and your shrubs. No garden's too small. Everyone can have a tree of some kind. I mean, we maybe go to excess to have this many trees in a garden this size, but it gives a great atmosphere. It makes it like a real woodland. And the bulb beds now filling up with the annuals and the self-seeders and the poppies, the aquilegias. Being relaxed about these things, you can really enjoy a garden. The only person a garden has to satisfy is yourself. So if it's your garden, then you just need it to be good for you, to do what you want. You don't have to worry what other people think, really. That's what I believe. And I said I'd come around and look at the uvularia. These are the uvularias. Come around this side to get better light. There we go. They're self-seeding. You can see the primroses and others down there. There's a wee bit of a bare hole there where I was in, slipping in some new plants. There we have a nice place to stop just as a helicopter's coming overhead. I'll finish here looking at the foliage, which will become a good feature of the garden for some months. So thanks for being with me. I'll see you again in the next walk. Bye for now.